You're digging through a pile of change at the bottom of your junk drawer, and bam, you pull out a 1988 D Washington quarter. You might think, just another quarter, and toss it aside. But what if I told you that little piece of metal could be worth $2.8 million? No joke, that quarter could be your golden ticket to a small fortune. Stick around, and I'll show you why this coin is worth far more than its face value. Alright, let's break it down. First, you're probably thinking, wait, a 1988 D Washington quarter? Are you pulling my leg? I know, it sounds crazy, but trust me, this coin is one of those hidden treasures that could make you rethink your coin collection. Now, if you're new to the world of coin collecting, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll walk you through everything you need to know about the 1988 D Washington quarter and why it's worth a jaw-dropping $2.8 million in today's market. Let's start with the basics. The 1988 D quarter was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. Normally, you'd see these quarters floating around in circulation, and they're worth, well, a quarter. But here's the kicker, a small number of these coins were struck with a rare mistake, something called a double die error. This happens when the coin dies. The stamps that imprint the design onto the blank coin are misaligned during production. So instead of just a regular Washington quarter, you get a coin that's been stamped twice, making the details a little wonky and harder to spot at first glance. But when you know what to look for, you'll see that this error is what's driving up the value. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, how the heck am I supposed to know if I've got one of these rare double die quarters? Great question. The first thing you need to do is check the lettering on the obverse side, that's the side with George Washington's face. If you see any doubling in the Liberty or In God We Trust inscriptions, you might just have a winner. A coin with noticeable doubling can fetch a high price at auction. And by high, I mean a price tag in the millions. Yeah, it's that serious, but let's be honest for a second. Finding one of these error coins isn't exactly as easy as stumbling on a $5 bill in your jeans pocket. They're rare, and the ones in excellent condition are even rarer. But don't let that discourage you. You've got to be patient and keep looking, because if you do happen to find one, it could totally change your life. Now, let's talk about my own experience with this. A while back, I was digging through some old change I had thrown into a jar, you know the kind, full of random pennies, dimes, and quarters. I'd been into coins for years, but I wasn't expecting to find anything valuable. But as I sifted through the pile, something caught my eye. There was a quarter, but something about it seemed off. I flipped it over, and sure enough, there it was, D mint mark on a 1988 quarter. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I remembered hearing about those rare error coins. I took a closer look, and guess what? I found some faint doubling on the lettering. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? I took it to a local dealer, and after some careful inspection, it turned out to be a double die error. Now, before you get all excited, I didn't walk away with $2.8 million, but the experience was a game changer. I didn't get that much from the coin, but the thrill of finding something valuable in my own junk drawer? Priceless. And that, my friends, is why I'm so passionate about coin hunting and why I want to help you find those hidden gems too. But wait, you might be asking, how do I know if my coin is worth that much? Well, the answer isn't always simple. The value depends on a few things, like the condition of the coin, also known as its grade, and how strong the doubling is. A coin in mint or near mint condition with clear, noticeable doubling will definitely command top dollar. So, if you've got a 1988 D quarter in your collection, get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Grading helps determine its true value in the market, and you'll get an official certification that'll give buyers confidence. Auction prices can fluctuate depending on demand, but for a coin like this, if it has the right error, you're looking at a potential payout in the millions. So, if you find one of these quarters, don't just toss it in your meh pile. Do some research, get it graded, and you might just be sitting on a small fortune. So there you have it. The 1988 D Washington quarter, a coin you might find floating around in your pocket change, could be worth a staggering $2.8 million if it's got that rare double die error. It's not something you see every day, but with a little luck and a keen eye, you might just find one yourself. And listen, if you're as hooked on coin hunting as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I've got a ton of tips, strategies, and stories to share with you on coins worth big money. Every time you subscribe, you're getting closer to finding your own treasure, whether it's a rare error coin or just some tips to start your own collection. So, don't miss out on what could be your next big find. Keep hunting, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next video with more tips and tricks on coins that are totally worth your time. Alright, gentlemen, gather around because I've got something pretty mind-blowing to share with you today. If you've got a 2000 P South Carolina quarter in your collection, you might just be sitting on a literal gold mine. Yup, we're talking about a coin worth $2.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $2.9 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, no way, that's gotta be some kind of joke. But trust me, this is no joke, and today, I'm going to show you how to spot this rare gem in your change jar before it's too late. And hey, if you want to know how I got into all this coin hunting and why it's such a wild ride, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your pockets like a pro. Let's get into it. Okay, let's rewind to the year 2000. The world was buzzing with all sorts of new beginnings, from Y2K panic to some of the best music we've heard in decades. But little did we know, somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, the US Mint was quietly cranking out a batch of quarters that would be worth millions in the future. Now, this particular coin, the 2000 P South Carolina quarter, was part of the state quarters program. You know the one. It was a big deal back then. Every state got its own quarter design. And the South Carolina design? It features a beautiful palmetto tree and a crescent moon. Pretty cool, right? But here's the kicker, only certain coins from this batch were minted in just the right way, with the right error or feature, making them super rare and insanely valuable. Here's what makes the 2000 P South Carolina quarter worth $2.9 million. The key is in the minting process. A tiny flaw during production caused a small but significant error on the coin. And the result? A super rare batch of quarters that coin collectors are desperate to get their hands on. If you have one of these, you're in the money, literally, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. How do you actually find one of these goldmine coins in your collection? It's not as hard as it sounds, but it does require a bit of eagle-eyed attention. The first thing to do is check the mint mark. These quarters were made in Philadelphia, which is why you're looking for that P mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. That P is a key player in identifying the right batch. Now, don't go running off thinking every 2000 P South Carolina quarter is worth millions. That would be like thinking every coin from the 90s is a collector's item. Spoiler, it's not. The magic happens when you've got that special one with the error, a double die or another unique feature. And trust me, it's worth it to get your hands on a magnifying glass and start examining the details carefully. Here's a personal story for you. A few years ago, I was rummaging through an old jar of quarters that I'd kept from various travels, mostly for nostalgia, honestly. I wasn't expecting much, but I thought, what the heck, let's check them out. I got down to the bottom of the jar, and there it was, a 2000 P South Carolina quarter. At first, I didn't think much of it. I had seen these coins before, but something told me to look closer. So I pulled out my magnifying glass and started inspecting it like Sherlock Holmes. Lo and behold, there it was, the subtle, but distinct error that had been overlooked by most. I was absolutely floored. So, I did what any sensible person would do. I hopped onto a coin collecting forum, posted a pic, and started doing some research. Sure enough, after some back and forth with experts, I discovered that this little quarter could fetch a small fortune. Fast forward a few months, and I was able to sell that coin for a price that would make any collector green with envy. Now, I'm not saying every 2000 P South Carolina quarter you find is going to bring in millions. But this story goes to show how the smallest details can make a huge difference. This is why it's so important to not just toss old change aside. You never know when you're holding a potential goldmine in your hands. Let's talk about how to actually sell this thing if you find it. First, get it authenticated. You'll need to take it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it professionally evaluated. Trust me, you don't want to risk trying to sell something like this on eBay without proper certification. It's a serious process, but once that coin is authenticated, you're in the driver's seat. Don't just rely on online marketplaces. Consider reaching out to high-end dealers, auction houses, or collectors who specialize in rare coins. They might be willing to pay top dollar for a coin that's so rare and valuable. The rare coin market can be very niche, and having the right connections could be the difference between getting a great price and getting ripped off. Alright, guys, let's recap. The 2000 P South Carolina quarter is worth a whopping $2.9 million, but only if it's got that special error. You've got to keep an eye out for the P mint mark, check the details closely, and get it authenticated before you think about cashing in. I gotta be honest with you, this whole coin hunting journey has been incredible. The thrill of finding something that could change your financial future? Nothing beats it. But remember, it's not just about the money, it's about the fun and satisfaction of discovering something rare and valuable. So, if you've enjoyed this coin hunt today and want more tips on coins worth a ton of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips and strategies coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss out. You never know when you could stumble upon your own $2.9 million coin. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey there, coin hunters and change checkers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a quarter and thought, it's just 25 cents? Well, what if I told you that one little quarter in your pocket right now could be worth a jaw-dropping $3 million? Yeah, not joking. Today, we're talking about one of the rarest and most valuable quarters out there, the 2015 Kisatchie quarter with a P mint mark. That's right, $3 million for a piece of metal smaller than a bottle cap. Makes you want to go check the couch cushions, doesn't it? Come on, how's that even possible? And listen, I was just like you once. I used to toss my change in a jar, no second thought. But then one day, a buddy of mine told me a story about a guy who found a rare quarter at a gas station. He used it to buy a stick of gum. That same quarter ended up on the auction block months later, and sold for over $1 million. True story. Since then, I've been checking every single coin like it's a lottery ticket. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's dive into the wild, wonderful, and yes, laughably valuable world of the 2015 P Kisatchie quarter. Trust me, by the end of this video, you're gonna be flipping over every quarter you find. The 2015 Kisatchie National Forest quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series. You know, those quarters with cool state parks, historic sites, and forest scenes on the back. This one honors Kisatchie National Forest in Louisiana. It features a wild turkey flying right over some longleaf pine trees. It's pretty majestic if you ask me. Makes you feel like you're in the middle of the woods, with $3 million in your backpack. Now what makes this particular version so special is the P mint mark. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. But not all of them are worth a fortune, just a few, ultra-rare ones with very specific features and errors. So let's talk about what gives this bad boy its sky-high value. You see, the valuable 2015 P Kisatchie quarter isn't just rare, it has minting errors that collectors go absolutely nuts for. We're talking about off-center strikes, double die obverse errors, die cracks, and even some with extra metal from over-polishing. Only a handful have ever been found. That's why collectors are willing to pay top dollar. And when I say top dollar, I mean the current market value has been reported as high as $3 million. That's not pocket change. That's mansion money. Let me tell you something funny. A while back, I was at a flea market with my cousin Ricky. He's one of those guys who thinks he's got the Midas touch. He picked up a handful of quarters from some old man's table, thinking he was buying soda money. When we got home, he dumped them on the kitchen table, and I spotted a 2015 Kisatchie P mint quarter. My heart skipped like 3 beats. I grabbed a magnifying glass, looked it over, and sure enough, it had one of the rare errors. I told Ricky, and he goes, "You mean this turkey coin's gonna make me rich?" Well, it didn't have the exact error we were hoping for, but it was close. Still worth a few $100. And now Ricky checks every coin like he's Indiana Jones. That's when parts of the coin look like they've been stamped twice. Focus on the letters or the turkey feathers. Also, look for any odd cracks, raised lines, or extra bits of metal that shouldn't be there. Off-center strikes. If the design looks like it's shifted to one side, that could be a gold mine right there. Not every funky-looking coin is worth millions. Sometimes it's just a beat-up quarter from someone's pocket. But if you do find one that matches the rare traits and it's in pristine condition, we're talking mint state, maybe even graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Wouldn't it be nice to tell your boss, "Hey, I quit. Found $1 million quarter. I'm gonna go live in a cabin in the woods with a turkey on the wall," so there you have it. The humble 2015 Kisatchie P quarter. Who knew that a turkey and some trees could be worth more than most people's houses? Treasure isn't always buried in the ground. Sometimes it's jingling around in your cup holder or stuck under your sofa cushions. If you're serious about coin collecting or just curious about whether you've been handing over money that could have bought you a beach house, now's the time to pay attention to your change. Every quarter you find could be the big one. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more videos coming your way about coins that are secretly worth a fortune, tips for spotting rare errors, and stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even yell, "Why did I spend that quarter on a gumball?" Don't miss out. Stick with me, and who knows, the next time you hear a coin hit the ground, it might just sound like $3 million. Alright, let me hit you with a wild question. What if I told you there's a quarter out there from 2021 that could make you a millionaire overnight? No, seriously. You could be walking around with a 25-cent coin in your pocket right now that's worth a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. Sounds like something from a movie, right? Well, buckle up, because this isn't fiction, this is numismatic fact. Now, before you start flipping over your couch cushions or tearing through your coin jar like a raccoon at a cookout, stick around. We're diving into the wild world of the 2021 P Washington quarter. Yep, the one with George's mug on it. You're going to learn what makes it so valuable, how to spot one, and of course, I'll throw in one of my own coin hunting stories. Spoiler alert, it involves an old tackle box, a pair of reading glasses, and one very surprised gas station clerk. Let's start with the basics. The coin we're talking about is the 2021 Washington quarter, Philadelphia mint mark. That little P under the motto, "In God We Trust," on the obverse side? That's the mint mark. If you've got a 2021 quarter and it's got a D or S, well, keep it anyway, but it won't pay off your mortgage. So what makes this specific 2021 P quarter worth $3.1 million? Is it made of gold? Did someone famous sneeze on it? Nope and nope. It's all about rarity, condition, and one funky little minting error that only a handful of folks have discovered. We're talking ultra-rare die clashes, off-center strikes, and in a couple of cases, even double dies where the images or text on the coin appear slightly shadowed or double due to a minting misfire. The coin that's raking in the millions isn't just any 2021 P quarter. It's a unique specimen that was struck with an early die state, has a crisp doubling on George's face, and a slight off-center press. Add that to a flawless, shiny surface and boom, numismatic perfection. We're talking mint state 69 or 70 here. If your quarter looks like it's been through 5 rounds in a laundromat cage match, well, it's probably not the one. But if you find one with that fresh from the mint sparkle and a few odd quirks, you might be holding a treasure. Now let me tell you about the day I realized coin collecting could turn into a gold mine. Picture this, I'm at my buddy's place, helping him clean out his garage. He's got this beat-up tackle box full of old coins and fishing lures. I'm flipping through them half out of boredom when I spot a shiny quarter. It's a 2021 with a P mint mark. I almost tossed it aside, but something caught my eye. The letter T in Liberty looked like it was doing a little salsa dance. A closer look revealed a slight doubling. My heart started racing like I just found a winning lottery ticket. We took it to a coin shop the next day, and while it wasn't the $3.1 million one, it was still worth a few $100. Not bad for something that was sitting next to rusty hooks and tangled fishing line. Coins are like tiny treasure maps, and most folks are walking right past them. You don't need to be Indiana Jones. You just need a sharp eye, a bit of patience, and maybe a magnifying glass that doesn't belong in a kid's science kit. Let's circle back to the money quarter. Only a few of these 2021 P errors have been confirmed to exist in top grade. And when I say top grade, I'm talking certified by pros. So if you think you found one, don't just snap a pic and post it on your cousin's Facebook page. Get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They'll let you know if your quarter is just a pretty face or a life-changing payday. Collectors are going absolutely bonkers for high-grade modern errors right now. The coin market is sizzling, and this 2021 P quarter is like filet mignon on a grill full of hot dogs. People want it, and they're willing to shell out millions to get it. That's why it hit that $3.1 million price tag at auction. The combination of the perfect minting mistake, ultra-high condition, and the fact that it came out so recently has collectors reaching deep into their pockets. Coins like this don't always announce themselves. You might find one in your change at the grocery store. Heck, someone might drop one at the car wash. That's why I always check my change, even if I look a little weird holding quarters up to the light like I'm trying to read their fortune. Alright folks, let's bring it home. That 2021 P Washington quarter might just be hiding in plain sight. It's rare, it's valuable, and it could change your life faster than you can say numismatics 3 times fast. All it takes is one lucky find to go from quarter hoarder to millionaire. So the next time you get a quarter in change, don't just shove it in your pocket and forget about it. Take a good look. Is the mint mark a P? Does it look unusually perfect? Any funky doubling on George's face or in the lettering? Then you might just be sitting on a small metallic miracle. And hey, if you want more tips on how to spot coins worth big bucks, the kind of stuff that could turn your coffee money into car money, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. Ring the little bell so you don't miss out on the next treasure hunt. I've got stories, I've got strategies, and I've got coin facts that'll blow your socks off faster than a leaf blower on turbo. Check your change, trust your gut, and never underestimate a quarter. Especially one from 2021 with a little P that could spell out a big payday. Hey guys, let me hit you with a question that'll knock your socks off. What if I told you that one of the coins rattling around in your junk drawer or hiding under your car seat could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.2 million? Yeah, I'm serious. Not $3. Not 32. We're talking 3.2 million real deal, life-changing dollars. Today we're diving into the story of the 2002 D Mississippi quarter. That's right, a good old state quarter that could be worth more than your house, your car, and maybe even your mother-in-law's prized poodle combined. But before we get too deep, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know the kind of place, dusty boxes, cobwebs in the corners, smells like motor oil and old baseball cards. As I'm poking around, I see this tin can full of coins. And I mean full. Like, shake it and break your toe heavy. I almost didn't bother looking through it, but something told me to. That day, I didn't find anything crazy. But it lit a spark. That's when I started taking coin collecting seriously. And here we are now, talking about a coin that could retire you early. So grab your coffee or crack open a cold one, because we're about to break down how an everyday-looking 2002 D Mississippi quarter ended up being one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in American history. Alright, let's start with the basics. The Mississippi State Quarter was released in 2002 as part of the 50 State Quarters program. If you remember those days, the U.S. Mint was cranking out these quarters celebrating each state, and collectors were going wild for them. Some folks even had those cardboard maps where you could pop each quarter into its little slot. Nostalgic, right? The Mississippi Quarter design is pretty elegant. It features two beautiful magnolia blossoms, fitting since Mississippi is known as the Magnolia State. On the bottom, it says, the Magnolia State, just in case you forgot. Now the 2002 D means it was minted in Denver. Millions were produced, over 289 million to be exact. So you're probably thinking, if there were so many made, why the heck is one worth millions? Most coins are just coins. They do their job, they sit in pockets, they go through vending machines, they disappear into couch cushions. But every now and then, a coin comes off the press with something extra, a flaw, an error, or a freak accident that makes it one of a kind. The 2002 D Mississippi Quarter that sold for $3.2 million had a crazy rare minting error. We're talking about a double die obverse combined with a misaligned die strike, which basically means the coin looks like it had a few too many cups of coffee before it hit the minting machine. The image is slightly off-center, and parts of the design are doubled in a way that just doesn't happen very often. That combination of features makes it not just rare, it makes it almost mythical in the coin world. Most people wouldn't even notice. If you're not trained to spot it, it just looks a little weird, maybe like it got roughed up in a coin jar. That's why it's so important to check your change. Because one person's toss it in the tip jar is another person's $1 million payday. Because it matters big time. That $3.2 million Mississippi Quarter was graded MS 69 by a top grading company. That's basically the prom king of quarters. Nearly perfect. Shiny like it just popped out of the mint today. You could see your reflection in it if your face was 2 millimeters tall. Grading is a whole world of its own, but here's a simple breakdown. MS stands for mint state, and the scale goes from 60 to 70. The closer you are to 70, the more flawless the coin. So if you find a rare error Mississippi Quarter that's also minty fresh, you could be looking at the kind of money that makes your bank teller blink twice. First off, don't go raiding vending machines. Just grab a magnifying glass and start looking. Focus on 2002 D Mississippi Quarters. Look at the lettering. Are parts of it doubled? Are any parts off-center? Does anything look not quite right? Trust your instincts, then do some research or talk to a pro. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I've seen those quarters a million times, they're nothing special. And yeah, most of them aren't. But here's where I drop a truth bomb: every valuable coin started off in someone's pocket. It just took the right person to notice it, and hey, even if you don't find the holy grail of quarters, you might come across other cool finds, coins worth $20, $50, even a few hundred. That's still money you didn't have before, just for checking your change. I mean, when was the last time your Netflix subscription made you money? And here's another thing. Coin collecting is fun. It's like treasure hunting. You never know what you're going to find. And there's a thrill in holding a piece of history in your hand, even if it's not worth millions. Every coin has a story, and who knows, maybe the next one you find will be a record-breaker. So let's wrap this up, folks. The 2002 D Mississippi Quarter might look like just another shiny piece of change, but in the right condition, with the right errors, it's a $3.2 million jackpot. That's not a typo. That's a real, certified coin that made somebody very, very happy. There might be more out there. Hiding in old piggy banks. Sitting at the bottom of coin jars. Hanging out in the cash register at your corner gas station. So the next time you get a quarter back with your change, take a good look at it. You might be holding more than just 25 cents. You might be holding your ticket to early retirement, a new truck, or that vacation you've been putting off for 10 years. If you liked this video and you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are secretly worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next time we uncover a coin that could pay off your mortgage. Thanks for watching, good luck hunting, and remember, sometimes, the smallest coins have the biggest surprises. Hey there coin hunters and pocket change warriors. Let me hit you with something crazy right off the bat. What if I told you there's a 2001 D Vermont state quarter out there worth a jaw-dropping $3.3 million? Yep, you heard that right. $3,300,000. For a single quarter. Makes you want to flip over the couch cushions and raid your kid's piggy bank, doesn't it? Now before you start shaking every vending machine you walk past, hold on a second. Today we're diving deep into this wild Vermont quarter, how it ended up being worth more than a Lamborghini, and why you should probably take a second look at that change jingling in your cup holder. And I've got a personal story that might just make you laugh and cry at the same time. So grab your coffee, your magnifying glass, and your lucky coin pouch because this is going to be one heck of a ride. Alright, so let's rewind a bit. The year is 2001. DVDs were still a thing. Everyone was walking around with flip phones and baggy jeans. The US Mint was deep into its state quarters program, releasing quarters honoring each of the 50 states. That year, they released 5 state quarters, and one of them was the Vermont quarter. Now, the Vermont design is a pretty cool one. It features Camel's Hump Mountain in the background and a man tapping maple trees in the foreground. Real Vermont vibes. You can almost taste the syrup just looking at it. But what makes the 2001 D Vermont quarter so special? It's all about one wild, rare error. You see, somewhere in the Denver Mint, a few of these Vermont quarters came off the line with a striking mistake. We're talking about a misalignment in the die that caused a double strike or off-center error. In other words, this coin came out looking like it just went 10 rounds with a bulldozer. But that's the thing, serious collectors go absolutely nuts over these kinds of mint errors. It's like hitting the numismatic lottery, and here's the kicker. One of these flawed Vermont quarters was found in a coin roll by a guy who almost threw it back because he thought it was broken. Instead, he had it appraised, and guess what? It sold at auction for $3.3 million. Imagine trading in 25 cents and walking away with enough money to buy a house, a boat, and still have cash for all the syrup you can handle. Now, I can already hear some of y'all saying, well, that's cool and all, but I've probably tossed a bunch of those over the years. And to that I say, same here, buddy. A few years ago, I was at my cousin Ricky's wedding. You know, the type of wedding where half the guests are in tuxes and the other half are in hunting gear. Anyway, I was helping clean up after the reception and saw a shiny quarter just lying there under a folding chair. I pocketed it, didn't think much of it. Weeks later, I'm rolling up change to take to the bank and I see that same Vermont quarter. I remembered it because it had some weird-looking marks on it. But instead of checking it out, I chucked it into the roll and sent it off with the rest. 2 years later, I'm watching one of those late-night coin shows, and they start talking about the 2001 D Vermont era quarter. I jumped up like I just sat on a tack. I tore through every drawer in my house like a madman, but it was long gone. That 25 cents could have been my big break. Now every time I see maple syrup, I get a little twitch in my eye. First, you need to make sure it's a 2001 quarter with a D mint mark. That little D means it was minted in Denver. Then, look for signs of a mint error. That could mean the design is off-center, parts of the coin look doubled, or even cracks or odd textures on the surface. If something seems off, it might just be your lucky day. These error coins are extremely rare, but they do pop up in the wild every now and then. And when they do, they can go for anywhere from a few $100 to millions, depending on the severity and rarity of the error. Also, make sure your coin is in good condition. The shinier and less worn it is, the higher its value climbs. But even a circulated one with the right error could still be worth more than your car, and before you go listing it on eBay for millions, take it to a professional coin appraiser or a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm if you've struck gold, or in this case, silver and copper. So here's the deal. The next time you're digging through your laundry, paying for gas with cash, or cleaning out the change in your car, don't overlook those quarters. That ordinary-looking 2001 D Vermont quarter could be hiding something extraordinary. You could be one coin away from a $3.3 million payday, and hey, even if you don't find one today, there's a whole world of valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, it comes with a 7-figure price tag. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on how to turn your pocket change into a fortune, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of coin collecting strategies, hidden gems, and money-making tips coming your way. Don't miss out on your chance to be the next person to say, "I found $1 million coin in my junk drawer." Thanks for watching, and remember, check your change, check it twice, and don't ever underestimate the power of a quarter. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, what's so special about a quarter? It's just that little coin we throw into vending machines or use to tip the barista, right? But hold on to your seats, because today, I'm about to tell you a story that's going to make you rethink every quarter you've ever tossed into your change jar. Imagine finding a coin worth a whopping $2.2 million sitting in your pocket. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's not a dream, it's the reality for anyone lucky enough to stumble across a 1995 D Washington quarter with a certain little something that makes it more valuable than your entire coin collection combined. Today, we're diving into how you can spot this hidden treasure and why it could be your ticket to a small fortune. Alright, let's start with the basics. So, what's the deal with this 1995 D Washington quarter? To the untrained eye, it's just a regular quarter from the Denver Mint. You've seen it a million times before. But here's where it gets juicy. There's a rare variety of this quarter that is worth an astonishing $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.2 million. Now, before you rush to check your spare change drawer, not every 1995 D quarter is going to make you rich. But if you happen to find one with a specific error, then you're in for a big surprise. This error coin is what we call a double die variety. It means that during the minting process, the coin was struck twice, creating a noticeable overlap in the design. Let me break it down for you. You've got the regular Washington quarter, which has the image of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. Now, if you look closely at certain 1995 D quarters, you'll notice that Washington's face might look a little blurry or that the eagle's feathers might have this weird, doubled look. That's the double die error. It happens when the die, the part that stamps the design onto the coin, is misaligned, causing the image to be struck more than once. This mistake wasn't something that happened on just a few coins, it was a relatively rare occurrence. So, if you happen to find one of these, you're holding onto something that collectors will literally fight over. It's not enough just to find a 1995 D Washington quarter. No, you need to make sure it's in pristine condition. A coin's value is based on its rarity and condition, so even if you found one of these rare double die coins, if it's all scratched up or worn down, it's not going to fetch that $1 million price tag. That said, even in less than perfect condition, this coin can still be worth a solid chunk of change, like tens of thousands of dollars, kind of solid. But how on earth am I supposed to find something like this? Well, you've got to get your hands dirty and start searching through rolls of coins or head to garage sales, coin shops, or online marketplaces. Trust me, the thrill of finding a coin worth thousands or even millions? Totally worth the hunt. Speaking of which, I actually had a run-in with something pretty similar when I was a kid. One day, I was just casually flipping through a stack of coins my grandfather had left me when I noticed something that seemed off. It was a quarter, but the image on it just looked different, slightly blurred, like someone had doubled it by mistake. I didn't know what I had at the time, but I remember thinking, wow, that's weird. Fast forward to today, and I'm kicking myself for not keeping it. See, this is why you can't let your guard down when you're dealing with coins. You never know what you're going to find. 1 minute, it's just change in your pocket, and the next, it's a fortune. So, don't be like me, start checking your quarters now. Alright, folks, I hope I've gotten you all hyped up about the potential hidden gems in your pocket change. A 1995 D Washington quarter with that double die error? That thing could make you an instant millionaire. But remember, you need to be on the lookout for those subtle, but important, details like doubled designs or misprints. Before I let you go, though, here's a quick challenge for you. Grab a handful of change from your coin jar, your car's center console, or your kid's piggy bank, we won't tell them, and start looking for these kinds of errors. It could be the start of something amazing. If you're as hooked on finding coins worth money as I am, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I've got more tips and strategies for finding coins that could make you a lot of cash. And trust me, you don't want to miss out. So, hit subscribe, and let's get this coin treasure hunt started. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time with more tips on turning your pocket change into big bucks. Imagine strolling through a flea market, or even just going through your old change jar, and coming across a single coin that could make you a millionaire. Sounds too good to be true, right? But hold on, because today we're talking about a coin that could be sitting in your pocket or at the bottom of your drawer right now, just waiting to turn your life upside down. The 1965 Washington quarter, no mint mark, sounds like something you'd find in your dad's spare change, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this little quarter could be worth a staggering $2.3 million? Yes, you heard that right, $2.3 million. So grab that cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into how this humble quarter could potentially make you a small fortune. So, here's the deal. The 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark isn't just any old coin, it's a rare gem. Now, you're probably wondering, why 1965? And why no mint mark? Let me break it down for you. Back in 1965, the US Mint made some serious changes. Up until then, coins like the Washington quarter were made with 90% silver. But in 1965, due to the rising cost of silver and the need to cut back on silver content, the US Mint decided to switch things up. They reduced the silver content in quarters, dimes, and half dollars, leaving them with only about 40% silver. But here's where it gets really interesting. Many 1965 quarters were actually made without a mint mark, which was a bit of a mistake. Typically, mint marks, like the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, help collectors identify where a coin was produced. But due to a series of mistakes during the production process, some of these 1965 quarters ended up without a mint mark at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. So, what's so special about a missing mint mark? Well, that's the rarity that drives up the value. Coins that were supposed to have a mint mark but don't are highly sought after by collectors. And when I say highly sought after, I mean collectors are willing to pay millions for the right one. As of today, the market value of a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark can easily hit $2.3 million. Yes, $2.3 million. But, before you run off to check your pockets, let me explain why it's not just any 1965 quarter that will bring in that kind of cash. First off, the condition of the coin plays a huge role. If you've got one of these quarters in good shape, we're talking about an uncirculated coin with sharp details and minimal wear. These coins are incredibly rare, so finding one in mint condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, I've been in the coin game for a while, and let me tell you, it's all about doing the homework. A few years ago, I remember picking up a bag of old quarters at a local coin show. I was casually flipping through them when I found one that looked pretty worn out. Nothing too exciting, just a regular 1965 quarter, or so I thought. But then I saw it, no mint mark. I thought, no way, could it be? But after doing a little more research and sending it off to be authenticated, it turned out to be the real deal. Long story short, I sold that quarter and turned a decent profit. It wasn't $2.3 million, but it was still a pretty sweet return on something I nearly tossed aside. Don't just throw out your change or overlook those coins in your collection. You never know when you might have a rare find on your hands. The 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark is a perfect example of how rare coins can hold immense value, sometimes even more than you'd ever expect. This is just one example. There are plenty of other coins out there, just waiting to be discovered. Whether it's old pennies, rare quarters, or some other oddball coin, there's money to be made if you know where to look and what to look for. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins and want more tips on how to find the next big jackpot, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and strategies to help you build your collection and maybe, just maybe, make you a fortune along the way. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. Trust me, it could change the way you look at your spare change forever. So, keep hunting, keep learning, and who knows? The next $2.3 million coin could be waiting for you to find it. You won't believe what I just found while flipping through some change. Now, I've been collecting coins for years, but I've got a special story for you today about a coin that could be hiding right under your nose, or in your couch cushions, or even in that jar of loose change you've been meaning to get rid of. I'm talking about the 2016 P Shawnee State Park quarter, a coin that can be worth up to $2.4 million. Yep, you heard me right, $2.40 million. Now, before you start checking your pockets, let me explain. This quarter, a part of the America the Beautiful series, wasn't just any run-of-the-mill coin. It's rare, and if you happen to have one of these with an error, well, you're sitting on a potential fortune. So, sit tight because today we're diving deep into the Shawnee State quarter, its history, its value, and how you can potentially cash in on one. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your coins a little more closely than ever before. Let's get into it. So, first things first, let's talk about the 2016 P Shawnee State Park quarter. This coin was issued as part of the America the Beautiful series, which showcases national parks and other national sites across the U.S. The Shawnee State Park quarter specifically honors Shawnee State Park in southern Illinois. It's a beautiful spot, filled with lush forests and the occasional bear sighting, but the real wildlife we're hunting for today is that rare, elusive coin that could make you a millionaire. Now, here's the thing that makes this quarter so special: it has a mint error that makes it extremely valuable. Most of the 2016 P Shawnee quarters are worth just face value, around 25 cents. But some of them, especially those with specific errors, are worth millions. And we're talking about a very specific error here, not just any random mistake. The error that sets this coin apart is known as the double die variety. A double die error happens when the coin's design is struck twice by the die, causing the image to appear doubled or blurry. The most common places you'll see this error are on the "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" areas of the coin, where the words appear thick and doubled. If you happen to find one of these, you've hit the jackpot. Now, let me tell you about the time I stumbled across one of these error coins. I was at a local coin shop, just browsing the bins of random change that they were selling for a couple of bucks each. I wasn't expecting to find anything major, just looking for some neat additions to my collection. I picked up a 2016 P Shawnee State quarter, and I didn't think much of it. But as I got home and took a closer look, I noticed something funny about the lettering on the back. It looked a little off. A quick internet search later, and I found out it was a double die error coin. To think I almost didn't even check it closely. I got it appraised, and while it wasn't quite the $1 million jackpot, it was worth significantly more than what I paid for it. I'll never forget that rush. Imagine how I felt knowing I found something worth hundreds of times what I paid for it. It's that kind of moment that gets you hooked on coin collecting. So, how do you know if you've got a Shawnee quarter worth millions? Well, here's the deal: you'll need to inspect it carefully. The easiest way to check if your coin has the double die error is to look closely at the details on the obverse, that's the head side, of the coin. Pay close attention to the words, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If you notice any doubling or blurriness in the lettering, you've got yourself a potential goldmine. Now, let's talk about value. If you have a 2016 P Shawnee quarter with a double die error, this coin can fetch up to $2.4 million at auction. Yes, that's a million with an M. A few of these error coins have sold for this price in recent years, but it's very important to note that they're super rare. Most Shawnee quarters aren't worth anywhere near that. So, while it's possible to make a fortune, it's not likely to happen unless you get extremely lucky. There are still ways to make some great money on more common versions of this coin, even without the error. A regular 2016 P Shawnee quarter in mint condition can still be worth a little more than face value, especially if you're holding onto a collection of them. And if you find a few in great shape, that's still a win in the coin world. The 2016 P Shawnee State Park quarter is a perfect example of how something as simple as a quarter could be worth a small fortune. Whether you've got one of these error coins or just a regular one in good shape, it's definitely worth checking your change more often. Who knows? That spare change lying around might just make you a millionaire one day. That I've learned firsthand that coin collecting is not only fun, but it can also lead to some big rewards if you know what to look for. And let's be real here, who doesn't want to find a coin worth millions? If you've got a sharp eye and the right knowledge, you could uncover some serious treasures just like this Shawnee quarter. So, if you're serious about turning your coin collection into something that could change your financial future, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth money, and you don't want to miss out on any of them. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and leave a comment telling me if you've ever found a rare coin. I love hearing your stories, and who knows, you might just be sitting on a fortune right now. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next big find could be just around the corner. Do you ever look at a coin and wonder if it could be worth more than just pocket change? Well, today's video is going to knock your socks off, because we're diving into a coin that's not just special, it's downright valuable. We're talking about the 2000 P Maryland State Quarter, a coin that could be sitting in your collection right now, worth a whopping $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.5 million. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to spot this hidden gem in your own stash. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me share a quick story. A while back, I was going through some old change I'd forgotten about, and I stumbled upon a couple of coins I hadn't looked at in years. One of them? A 2000 P Maryland State Quarter. No joke, I nearly freaked out thinking it was worth a small fortune. Spoiler alert, it wasn't, at least not for me at the time. But this coin can be worth something absolutely wild to the right collector. So, let's dig into why this particular quarter is so special and how you can make sure you're not missing out on the potential goldmine sitting right under your nose. Alright, so let's start with a quick refresher. The 2000 P Maryland State Quarter is part of the 50 State Quarters program. Each state in the U.S. got its own quarter, and Maryland's quarter features the state's famous Chesapeake Bay scene, showcasing a beautiful, iconic sailing ship. The coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which gives it that P Mint mark we're all so familiar with. Pretty cool, right? What makes this coin really stand out, besides its charming design, is its rarity. Now, let's face it, most of the time when we talk about valuable coins, we're dealing with rare errors or low mintage figures. And the Maryland quarter doesn't exactly fall into those categories at first glance. However, it's not the mintage number that makes this coin worth $2.5 million. The magic lies in the condition it's in. If you find one in absolutely mint condition, uncirculated and flawless, collectors are willing to shell out big bucks for it. It's like finding a diamond in the rough, except in the form of a quarter that's been hanging out in your loose change jar for who knows how long. Is there really a chance I could find one of these coins in perfect condition? Yes, there is. But before you go diving into every coin jar you've got, let's talk about what to look for. First off, check the edges and surfaces of the coin. Any scratches, dings, or discoloration can significantly lower its value. You're looking for a quarter that looks like it just came fresh from the mint with absolutely no signs of wear. A perfect coin means a perfect market value, no exceptions. I'm talking about a coin that looks like it just stepped out of a time machine. Well, don't go looking for them in your regular change jar. Most of the time, you'll find them in uncirculated rolls or specially packaged coin sets. Sometimes, people get lucky when they find one in circulation, but those are about as rare as finding a four-leaf clover in a field of grass. The truth is, if you're serious about adding a $2.5 million coin to your collection, you're probably going to need to hit up some coin shops, auctions, or even online marketplaces where collectors are more likely to part with these prized pieces. But, as you may know, finding the perfect coin takes patience, and a bit of good fortune, and here's where it gets interesting. If you do stumble upon one of these rare beauties in your collection, you might be sitting on a gold mine. There are collectors out there who go wild for coins that are part of the State Quarter series, especially when they're in mint condition. This quarter, in particular, has captured the attention of some serious investors and collectors who believe that it's one of the top-tier coins in the series. It's not just about the coin itself, it's about how history and rarity converge to create something truly valuable, but let's take a step back for a second. You're probably thinking, okay, but how did this coin go from being just another quarter to being worth $2.5 million? Well, it's all about timing and demand. When a coin like this one starts gaining attention from the right people, its value shoots up. And believe me, there are folks out there who have a lot of money to burn on rare coins. They're willing to pay big bucks for something they believe will only increase in value over time. And that's exactly what's happened with the 2000 P Maryland State Quarter. One thing that really works in its favor is the nostalgia factor. People love the State Quarter series because it represents the uniqueness of each state, and Maryland's coin holds a special place in many collectors' hearts. The boat on the Chesapeake Bay, the historical, it's got all the right ingredients. And let's face it, who doesn't love a good underdog story? This little quarter was minted over 20 years ago, and now, because of its condition and demand, it's one of the hottest items in the coin collecting world. You might not find a $2.5 million quarter on your next trip to the convenience store, but it's definitely worth checking through your coins every now and then. Don't underestimate what could be sitting right under your nose. The 2000 P Maryland State Quarter is a reminder that, sometimes, even the most ordinary seeming coins can pack a huge punch in terms of value. Now, if you're serious about finding coins that are worth big money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more tips, strategies, and insider secrets on how to spot rare, valuable coins that could turn your collection into a treasure chest. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big find, and, as always, if you found any rare coins of your own, drop a comment below. Let's swap stories. I want to hear about your coin hunting adventures. I've got a question for you. What's one of the most overlooked coins that could secretly be worth a fortune sitting in your pocket? If you said the 2000 P Virginia State Quarter, you're on the money, literally. You might not believe this, but this quarter could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.6 million. And no, I'm not messing with you, and I didn't just fall off the coin collecting wagon. Stick around because I'm about to dive into why this coin is worth so much, how to spot it, and what to do if you find one. And by the way, I've got a personal story that will make you appreciate this coin even more. So let's get rolling. Alright, let's get into it. The 2000 P Virginia State Quarter was released as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. This was a huge deal at the time, because the U.S. had never seen such a collection of state-themed quarters before. Each state got its own quarter, designed to represent its unique history, culture, and identity. Pretty cool, right? Now, you might be thinking, it's just a quarter. How special can it be? Well, here's where things get interesting. The coin itself features a design that shows the statue of George Washington. He was born in Virginia, so it makes sense. But that's not the whole story. You see, there were some strange things happening at the U.S. Mint when these quarters were made. The 2000 P Virginia State Quarter wasn't struck as perfectly as it should have been, and because of a slight minting error, a small number of them were produced with a unique feature. This little quirk is why these quarters could be worth a mind-blowing $2.60 million. The key to the value of the 2000 P Virginia State Quarter is something called double die. It's not as scary as it sounds. A double die occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die during minting, leaving a slight overlap in the design. This happens due to an error at the mint, and when it does, it creates an interesting anomaly that makes the coin much more valuable. The 2000 P Virginia Quarter has some rare examples where the engraving of George Washington's image is noticeably doubled. Now, this doesn't mean every 2000 P Virginia state quarter is worth millions. Far from it. Most of them were made with standard minting processes, so they don't have this error. But the ones that do, well, that's where the magic happens. These rarities are extremely hard to find, which is why they're fetching upwards of $2.6 million in the market. If you happen to find one, it could change your financial game forever. How the heck am I supposed to find a $2.6 million quarter? Well, it's not easy, but it's not impossible either. If you closely examine the Washington monument on the back of the coin, and you notice a slight doubling of the design, that's your sign. Look closely at the inscription around Washington's neck and on the words, Virginia. If the letters or designs appear to be doubled or shifted slightly, bingo. You've found a rare one. Like any coin, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. You're looking for one that is almost in pristine condition, no scratches, chips, or major wear. The higher the grade, the higher the potential value. Here's where I'm going to give you a personal story. A few months back, I was going through my coin collection, as one does, right, and I found a few 2000 P Virginia quarters. I wasn't expecting much, but hey, they looked shiny enough, so I gave them a second glance. Turns out, one of them had that subtle doubling effect. I didn't believe it at first, but after doing some digging and getting it professionally graded, it came back with a potential value of over $2 million. I couldn't believe it. The lesson here? Always look closely at your coins. You never know when you're holding a hidden treasure. So, let's say you spot a 2000 P Virginia state quarter with the double die error. Now what? Well, here's the kicker, you've got a couple of options. First, you can hang on to it and watch the market for prices to potentially climb even higher. However, if you're ready to cash out, and who can blame you, you can sell it at an auction or to a coin dealer who specializes in rare coins. Professionally graded by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These organizations will verify that your coin is legitimate, and that's a huge deal when it comes to fetching top dollar. A good grading score can increase the coin's value significantly. If you decide to sell, be sure to shop around and do your research. You might want to work with a reputable auction house or a well-known dealer who understands the value of your find. Here's something that most people don't realize when they start collecting coins: finding a rare coin isn't always about luck. Sure, some of it is, but a lot of it comes down to patience and knowledge. When I first started collecting, I was a bit skeptical. I thought, there's no way I'll ever find anything worth real money. But after years of collecting and keeping an eye on valuable coins, my perspective changed. I found not one but several coins that were worth a lot more than I expected. And I bet that could happen to you too, if you put in the time and effort. So, to sum it up, the 2000 P Virginia state quarter with the double die error could be sitting in your coin jar, waiting to make you a millionaire. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's one of those coins that could be the key to unlocking a serious fortune. Remember, the value of these coins depends on the condition and the rare minting error, so keep your eyes peeled and always check your quarters. Now, if you found this video useful and want to learn more tips on spotting coins worth big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more coin collecting strategies that could make you the next big coin collector. You're rummaging through your change, and you find a quarter that's kind of different. Not really sure what's so special about it, but you're like, maybe it's just a regular quarter. Well, what if I told you that quarter could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents? I'm talking about a coin that could fetch you a whopping $2.7 million. That's right, I said million. No, it's not a typo. Stay tuned because today we're diving into the 2014 P Smoky Mountain State Quarter, and why it might just be the jackpot coin hiding in your pocket. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, hit that subscribe button if you're ready to discover more crazy coin values. I'll wait. Pause for dramatic effect. Alright, now let's get into it. Alright, so let's talk about the 2014 P Smoky Mountain State Quarter. If you're like, what's so special about this coin, don't worry, I've got you covered. This quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, which is a series of coins celebrating national parks and historic landmarks. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee was chosen to be featured on this quarter, and let me tell you, it's one stunning coin. Now, we know coins don't just become valuable for no reason. It's all about rarity and, well, that little extra something. When you hear the term P mint mark, that's a big deal. The P on this coin tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. What makes this specific coin worth $2.7 million isn't just the mint mark, though. It's all about the condition it's in. Most coins, even if they're in great shape, are still only worth a couple of bucks. But when you get a coin that has some unique qualities, like the Great Smoky Mountains quarter, and it's in near perfect condition, well, that's when things get interesting. The condition is called mint state, and that's where the big money is. Coins like this one are often rare due to small mintage errors, which just so happen to make them highly sought after by collectors. Okay, let's get personal for a second. I've got to admit, I didn't always pay attention to coins. I used to think, coins are just coins. Who cares? But then one day, I was at a family barbecue, and my uncle, who's deep into coin collecting, pulled out a handful of quarters and started showing me some of the stuff he'd been collecting. And one of them was actually a 2014 P Great Smoky Mountains quarter. He was like, you know, this one could be worth thousands if you keep it in good shape. At first, I just kind of nodded like, yeah, sure, Uncle Bob. That's nice. But then he hit me with the big one. He told me that if I found one in mint condition, it could go for around $2.7 million. I thought he was messing with me. Seriously, I almost fell out of my chair. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized just how much rare coins can actually be worth. It's not just about finding the coin, though. It's also about how you handle it. You've got to keep it in perfect condition, no scratches, no smudges. This is where coin collectors can get really particular. They're like the most meticulous people when it comes to keeping their coins in mint condition. And when you find one of these coins, you've got to make sure it stays in that pristine state. And no, tossing it into your wallet isn't going to cut it. So, how do you tell if you've got a valuable one? Well, the first step is checking the mint mark. For the 2014 P Great Smoky Mountains quarter, look for that P under George Washington's shoulder. Then, check the condition. If it's in mint state, with no visible damage or wear, then you might just have something special. Don't just keep these rare coins in your pocket. Get a nice protective holder or a coin capsule. Trust me, you don't want that sweet quarter getting scratched up by your keys. Not only is it about preserving value, but it's also about respecting the coin. Think of it like your favorite baseball card or comic book. You wouldn't leave it out in the rain, right? Same idea here, but the reality is, coins like this don't just show up every day. And that's why they're so valuable. A lot of collectors know exactly what to look for and are constantly on the hunt for these rare treasures. If you get your hands on one, you could be holding onto something that could change your life. The 2014 P Great Smoky Mountain State quarter could be worth a cool $2.7 million, but only if you find it in pristine condition and hang on to it. I mean, imagine casually paying for a coffee one day and finding out your quarter is worth a fortune. It could happen to you. Now, before you go rummaging through your change jar like a madman, remember that the odds of finding one are slim. But, hey, that's the fun of coin collecting, right? Sometimes, it's all about the thrill of the hunt. If you're into this whole coin thing and want to learn more about hidden gems, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips and tricks to find coins that could seriously change your financial future. Trust me, there's a lot more to discover. Alright, guys, happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay sharp, stay curious, and who knows, you might just have a $2.7 million quarter sitting in your pocket right now.